Aloha. Hey, it's Julie Ziemlis, 365 Hawaii, and I'm with Real Broker. And this is your September All Island update for Hawaii Island. And I am here to give you guys some information from our beautiful selection of agents here. We're going to start off with Travis Green, and he's with Guild Mortgage, and he's going to talk about mortgages. And then we're going to go to Andy Madrid, who's going to be talking, he's from Real Broker. He's going to be talking about South Hawaii. And then Delaney Branham, also with Real Broker, will be talking about the neighborhoods of Kona. And then we'll go to Lance, who will be discussing all of the things that Kona has to offer with West Hawaii. And then Eric Ziemlis will give the update on what's going to happen in East Hawaii. So you guys will have your full market update here. And we are going to make sure that you guys do not drop off after 15 minutes. We're going to give it to you fast and quick. So let's start with Travis. Give us an idea of what's happening with the money.
Sure. So mortgage applications are up. Last week, the Mortgage Bankers Association reported that they were up almost 30% seasonally adjusted week over week. Most of that was an increase in refinance applications, but purchase applications were up as well, and the trend is rising applications. And the reason for this, as I think a lot of people know, is that interest rates have come down from where they were hanging out for a long time. So the average 30-year fixed rate was, around just under or just over 7% for a long time, several months. And then starting in August, that started to dip down towards 6%. And so we are, according to Mortgage News Daily, today on average right at about 6.39% for a 30-year fixed mortgage. That's for conventional 30-year fixed, top tier credit, 20% down on a purchase of a primary residence. FHA and VA are going to be lower. I'm seeing those a lot in the fives, in the high fives, mid to high fives. And so one of the big stories was we had a Fed meeting. The Federal Reserve, the Federal Open Market Committee met on September 16th and 17th. And as expected, they cut the Fed funds rate by a quarter point. And mortgage rates actually hit their lowest point of the last 11 months the day before their meeting concluded. And so this was something I was, really, really trying to drive home with my borrower clients who wanted to wait for the Fed to cut. I was like, do not wait. There's much more likelihood that rates will go up after this. We saw this happen last year because the Fed cut 4 times last year. There were 3 times, but a total of 1% off of the Fed funds rate. And mortgage rates moved higher in response right about this time last year. Reasons are a little bit different this time, but again, we saw a little bit of that happen. But still, 6.4% on average for a 30-year fixed is still, a lot better. We'll take it. I think people are mostly happy with that. And then this week, the focus shifted to, we got some reports about the economy in general. And then tomorrow, we're going to get an inflation report, PCE. But real quick, I just want to kind of tick some of these off as we move forward. We got some reports today that showed the economy in pretty good shape, which is not great for rates. It does not lead to lower rates when we get good news about the economy. Second quarter GDP came in at 3.8%, much better than expected. Market expected 3.3%. Durable goods orders for August showed an increase of 2.9% versus an expected decline of almost 0.5%. And so most of that increase was an increase in orders of commercial military aircraft, but still, that's business investment.
Great.
And then initial jobless claims this week came in lower than expected, which means that there's more strength in the labor market than the market had anticipated. So this all, led interest rates to kind of moderate a little by moving a little bit higher. And the reason for that is when the Federal Reserve did cut rates on the 17th, or cut their rate on the 17th, Jerome Powell said, this is kind of a risk management cut, right? They're still nervous about inflation. They're not convinced that the labor market's deteriorating, even though we've had those big revisions to jobs numbers. And so this was kind of like an insurance cut where they thought, yeah, let's just kind of move more towards a neutral rate in case we need to react faster. In the meantime, we have less ground to cover. But so we're not, rates aren't crashing to the floor, but they're much better than they'd been.
And then I heard stories about maybe two more rate cuts by the end of the year, and then somebody said no. What are you hearing? What do you think?
Yeah, yeah. So part of that meeting was the Fed released their dot plot, as it's called, and it's literally just an anonymous chart. They don't put their names on it, but it has dots on a plot of where each voting member expects the Fed fund rate to be at a given time. And so, based on the release of the dot plot, the average member of the Federal Open Market Committee expects to cut two more times this year of a quarter point.
Okay, so a quarter point each one.
Each
So
time.
okay, so point
So
0.5
another half a
on
point.
December. That's good, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And then also Fannie Mae, real quick, last thing. Fannie Mae released their revised forecast for interest rates, and so they expect at the end of this year the average 30-year fixed rate to be
Good about that.
6.4%. That's where we are right now.
Okay.
Um, so they don't expect much movement. And then by the end of next year, fourth quarter 2026, 5.9%.
Hey, that's
So
a special
they
number we
expect
were
about a half a point of movement overall.
all
And
next
I
year.
think that just reflects that there's a lot of uncertainty. There's just a lot of uncertainty about how that's going to shake out.
Yeah. 5.9 though by next December. Woo.
I've said this for years. I love 5.9.
Yeah.
Everybody knows that about me.
The market's going to move. So first they said stay alive through 2025, and now it's like wait until December 2026 to really see
Get
something.
your kicks in 26.
You get your drinks in 26 at the end. Okay, that's cool. I really appreciate that. That's a balanced market. Nothing's crazy. Happy, not exciting news, but not bad. So there we go. We like that. Okay, so let's go to my buddy here, Andy. Hold on. So I'm going to take the spotlight from you and go to Andy. There we go. Andy Madrid, bring us what's going on, because what's happening in your area always seems like it kind of goes a little bit of what's happening more to the whole island than it does, let's say, specifically like West Hawaii.
Oh, yeah. Even when Kona was slowing down, I mean, it was
Mhm.
still busy, but now
Mhm.
South Hawaii is starting to really see an impact. There were in the ranchos and in Ocean View, and we've talked about that market too. A lot of vacant land and a lot of unpermitted homes. There were nine sales, I'm sorry, eight sales between 25,000 and 410. Seven of them were cash. One was financed. Six of those properties were unpermitted. Only two of them actually could get financing, but it was cash. And the reason is that if they're going to finance, the cost of homeowners insurance is really high. I just called, somebody just called me today that wants me to list their property for sale. They got an estimate for homeowners insurance. It was $7,000 here in Ocean View, which is obscene. And so they were going to do a HELOC. They couldn't do it because of the interest. So they're just going to sell the property. Um, there are nine that are pending right now between 18 and 870 days on market,
Ooh.
between 55,000 and 475,000. And then there are 57 active. These are residential properties in the Ocean View and the Ranchos area here, between 47,000 and 489,000.
And
So
is there more inventory on the market, or is that less than usual?
it's been kind of holding steady. There's more, obviously,
Okay,
because the days on market are so high. The average is 177 days on market.
that's pretty high.
So,
Okay.
so 57 properties, and again, a lot of those are unpermitted homes. You
Mhm.
know, the properties, you have to be about 300 grand before you see a property that you can finance.
Mhm.
Because if it's less than that, it might be financed. Well, it might be permitted, but the condition is such that, financing would be tricky. What we're seeing a lot of is a lot more land. There are 219 parcels of land for sale
Oh,
when we've been averaging about 178. So there's quite a bit more on the market right now, for vacant land, and it's all over the board. Again, you can get some really inexpensive properties way up in the nosebleed section of the subdivision, like at,
where the homes
4,500
were.
feet elevation. It gets quite cold up there. But, typical, average is about 25 to 35,000 for a vacant lot that's down lower with some vegetation on it. There were 9 sales of land during the month of September.
Hmm. Okay.
Um, so that's what's going on in the ranchos. It's just it is slowing down quite a bit. I've had a number of sellers that have pulled their properties off the market that are going to wait.
Okay.
People have asked me, "Hey, can we list it? Is it a good time to list?" And I'm like, "Well, not really. We're just really saturated down here right now." But
Oh,
on the other hand, there's some inventory. A lot of it's just okay. It's not great inventory.
okay. Okay, so
Uh,
let me ask you, because I'm gonna ask everybody on this one. When you say now is not the best time to buy, I mean to sell, let's say, are they saying so when is? And do you have a
well,
crystal
so
ball of when is?
the problem right now, I think, is so sellers, and the conversation I had with these sellers today, it's like most sellers, and they still think that we're 2 years ago,
Yeah.
They still think that they're going to be able to list high, get multiple offers for the property. A lot of sellers just aren't realistic.
Hmm.
And so, but you still see agents listing properties where I think they're quite high, and who wants to sit on a property and get beat up by their seller because it's not selling because they didn't price it correctly. It happens all the time. So is it a good time? I mean, for a buyer, it could potentially be an all right time to buy.
Yeah.
The buyers right now for whether it's land or a house, they're particularly for land, it's like they're looking like who's willing to make a deal and
Hmm.
give them a rock bottom price on a piece of property,
Yeah.
you know. And
So
for the
okay, let me
land,
ask
for
you
the
this
most
then.
part, sellers don't
If
have to sell it.
sellers, well, if sellers feel like everyone's going to lowball them, is that when they say, you know what, I'm not playing this game, and they just pull their listing?
Well, what happens as a seller, I get sellers say, I want a price high because I know they're going to come in low.
That's yeah.
You're wasting your time and you're wasting my time. I
Yeah.
mean, I'm really upfront with sellers. I'm not going to take your listing because you can't get it sold,
Okay.
and all this is sit in the market and you're going to be frustrated and then you're going to take it out on me. And open marketing is going to solve the pricing problem,
Right, right.
you know.
So if,
And
if,
if
if there's any new realtors who are watching Andy and this show, I always want you to know what Andy just said is very important during a market like this. Because the concept of, well, we'll just put it on the market for too high and watch it kind of just like sink down a little bit to find its spot. I don't
well,
think it's coming.
yeah, it's because they
That's a
think
frustrating
this
part of the market.
sellers think that the buyers are going to come in low. And I have buyers, I just had one last week. We wrote an offer on a really high-end property. The seller's price was optimistic. And I went through the property and even before I ran the comps, I kind of had a number in my mind what I thought it was worth. And I worked out the comps. I wasn't that far off. I was $60,000 off. We're talking about a property that's priced at about 2.5 million bucks.
Wow, yeah. So
So
60.
just walking through, I'm like, yeah, this is what I think it is. And when I ran the comps, sure enough, that's what it was.
Mhm.
Now, my buyers, they wanted to come in really, really low. And I said, they're like, hopefully the seller won't counter. I'm like, trust me, the seller's going to counter. I said, we're going to be lucky if they just don't flat out reject you.
Mhm.
They wanted to come in really, really low. They said the comps don't support it. I said, I'll write it up, but you need to understand that the seller's going to counter it. And if you're okay with the counter being, between here and here, I'm okay with it. But if you tell me this is where you want to be, then you're going to be wasting your time. I'm going to be wasting my time. You're going to get frustrated and you're going to get nowhere with it.
Yeah.
So, now they're kind of having a come to Jesus moment. And they're from the Bay Area. They flew out here at the drop of a hat, with no advance notice. So the tickets were a fortune.
Yeah.
So it's like, figure it out. Now, moving south to Discovery Harbor, there are 11 properties on the market, and it doesn't sound like a lot, but Discovery Harbor is not that big of a community, and it's a little saturated. I've got 2 sellers that want to list down there, And I'm like, you got to wait till some of this inventory gets
Yeah.
shrunk up
Hmm.
because you have no room to move in your price, and these properties are going to be kind of stiff competition.
Yeah.
There are three pending, and the sales haven't been that high. I mean, the active ones are between 550 and 875, but the pendings are between 519 and 615. And traditionally, Discovery Harbor has been higher. I mean, there have been some sales that were close to $1 million
Oh,
earlier.
wow.
There was one that sold for like 945,
Wow.
and now we're barely scratching, getting over 600
Wow.
for pending. It'll close probably less than six.
Yeah. Okay, so
And
so
there,
so that's good
there
for
were no
buyers
sales in
though,
September, and there were only
right?
three in August.
Okay, so for buyers, these are 3 bedroom, 2 bath houses that you're talking about?
Discovery Harbor's got mostly three-bedroom, two-bath homes. They have a lot of custom features.
Yeah.
Um, the builders down there do a lot of unique things. So they're not like the typical cookie cutter home you're going to find in HPP,
Uh-huh.
where they take an HPM floor plan. And, down there in that neighborhood, they're all like open floor plan, luxury vinyl plank floor,
Mhm.
stainless steel appliances, white shaker cabinets, or a variation of, and then some kind of granite or quartz. Well, then you get to Discovery Harbor, the lighting is high end. They put in really nice flooring. It can be really nice stone. It can be really high end LVP. They'll do floating cabinets. They'll put in nice appliances. You can really see the difference. And the ceilings in most of those homes are 10 feet tall
Yeah.
and solid, solid doors.
Hmm.
Really nice product that's in there. But between like a house that was built in 2023 and that one that just got completed a few months ago, you see the difference. The builders are getting squeezed. The
Hmm.
product isn't as nice.
Hmm.
And that's in my opinion. I think right now you're going to buy, if you want a new or newer construction,
Yeah.
don't buy brand new.
Okay.
Paying, you're paying post-pandemic prices,
Yep.
and the materials that the builders have to use just isn't as good
There you
as
go.
you could have bought 2 years ago.
That's good advice. Yeah, that's okay. Thank you, Andy.
But yeah, so in Discovery Harbor, the average sales price, they're still getting 96% of their asking price
yeah.
there. In Hove, it's less, it's down in it's like 87.
Oh, okay.
Not terrible, but not great.
Yeah. No, under 90 is terrible.
Well, yeah, I would say, under 90, but they're getting like 87. It's not horrible considering.
So that's another thing, you guys. If you're watching this and you don't understand what Ocean View looks like in like that part of South Hawaii, please drive down there, do a Google map search, and you'll see that it might not be what you thought Hawaii would look like because there's a lot of lava. So
I mean, I think there could be some good values out here for people, but I always want them to come out and visit.
yeah, you have to
And
put
I
feet on
always
the
tell
ground.
them on the phone, I'll take your money, but I want you to be happy with what you get. You know?
We're gonna give Andy his own comedy show on real estate pretty soon. So
But yeah, there still can be some good opportunity out here for people that are, wanting to get a slice of paradise and get on the island
yeah,
inexpensive.
yeah, and
I
then
think it's just,
everybody come together.
knowing what you're buying and understanding what it's going to cost to develop,
Yeah,
one of these vacant pieces of land. I mean, not just here, it's anywhere, but here it's tougher.
yeah, yeah. It's more expensive because people sometimes you forget that they have to drive 2.5 hours to develop the piece of land that, you know,
Well, yeah, it's not like you're buying something in East Hawaii that,
Mhm.
you're 20 minutes from any
Port.
contractor that could do something.
Yeah, yeah.
Most of the contractors here, they're coming out of Kona.
Yeah, yeah. So that's, and again, you guys, we've done a video about this. It's called Buying Cheap Land in Hawaii, and Andy was the guy. So if you want to know more, what you're getting yourself into, including the insurance prices, watch that video. Okay, cool. Is it okay? So generally slowing down, but there's still houses are moving and they're getting their prices 97%.
Yeah, I mean, they are still getting, sellers are getting some of their prices. And that, we talked last time, I think a combination of it can be that there are sellers that are being more realistic in their list price.
There you
The sellers I had a conversation with today, they already got an appraisal. They know what their house is worth, and they're not looking to get, a gigantic chunk of money out of it.
Yeah,
I'm
people
like,
want to sell
if
it.
you price it within your appraised value or slightly over, we'll get it
Cool.
gone in a month.
Yeah, there
It'll
you
be priced really well. It's been renovated,
go.
you know.
Good, good. Okay. Okay, then let's bounce over to Delaney and see if she does the same kind of a thing that's going on here. Let's see. There we go. Okay, so Delania has been doing these videos around these three neighborhoods, and that kind of gives us a feeling of what's happening in West Hawaii. So Delania, what's the story?
Yeah, we've got like years of data at this point, which is really cool to go back and look and see the price changes. And really what I've seen, and I mentioned this last month, is like over the last 4 months or so, like a really prominent softening of prices. Like before, even with everything that was going on, prices were still ticking up a little bit or holding, and now we're really starting to see things. Neighborhoods where things were selling just over 1 million, now they're selling just under 1 million a little bit. So it's interesting to watch, and we'll see what happens through the end of this year. I do think, we're looking at sales data for August right now in these three neighborhoods, but I think when we look at September's next month, looking back at September, that we're going to see a lot more sales data because I think things have picked up.
Oh,
So we're starting with Pualani Estates. There's currently one active listing. It's the same one that was on last go round. It's listed for 1,025,000. It's been on the market 202 days. They've done a total of $260,000 in price reductions. So
oh,
they're hanging in there, but I think they're finally getting into the range. It does have a pool, which, for some people it's worth a little bit more, but we're getting into the range where it's probably going to go under contract sooner. There are two currently under contract. One is listed at $999,999. That was after $150,000 price reduction.
oh,
It was on the market 21 days before it went under contract. The other one listed at $1,075,000. That was after a $50,000 price reduction, and it went under contract after 131 days.
wow.
Nothing sold in the month of August there, but I think we'll have data in September. Next is Ali'ilani, which always gives us lots and lots of lots to look at. We scroll down. And that one, when I pulled it up at first, I was looking at August and September. So that I think there's probably 4 or 5 sales so far in September. So next month will be interesting to look at what the end of September looked like. For August, Ali'ilani, there's 9 actives. And I think last June, July, there was 8 active. So as quick as they're going off the market, they're coming on the market. So we're staying consistent with a lot. Price point on those nine active listings is between 439,000 and 579,000. Again, the higher is usually the 3-bedroom versus the 2-bedroom.
Mm-hmm.
They've been on the market anywhere between 7 days and 213 days. 6 of those 9 have been on the market for over 3 months. So, property's hanging out. There are currently 2 under contract, one listed at 465, one listed at 474.9. And then there were 2 sales in the month of August, one for 500,000. It was on the market for 75 days and it went 10,000 under list price. And then the second one, 545,000, was on the market for 192 days and it went 15,000 under list price. So again, property sitting, it's going under under list price, but it's selling. Eventually it's selling. So, as we were talking earlier, I think sellers that are wanting to list high just have to come to terms with the fact that they're going to sit around for a while and they're probably going to sell for less than asking. But if they're okay with that, then, that's the market we're in.
Yeah.
Unless they price well, and then it goes quick. So
Right. So have you can you track have people pulled their houses off the market? I don't know if I've seen that. Have you?
There's a way, yeah, there's probably a better way to do it. Like if I just go into Pualani Estate and pull the withdrawals, I'd have to figure out how to filter it down so it doesn't pull everything that's put, since the beginning of time that's been pulled off. So I'm sure there's a way. Lance probably knows how to pull what's come off like within the last 30 days. So it'd be interesting to see who's pulling.
That would be an interesting statistic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just watching the hot sheet, which I always have up on my computer anytime I'm there and keeping an eye on. I don't see a lot being withdrawn or expiring, but I'm sure there's some inventory. Last one we're going to look at is the Lokahi Makai neighborhood, and that one usually gives, it's not a big neighborhood, so we don't get a ton of data, but we get a little bit to look at. So as of August, currently there's 3 active listings. One is at 972,000, 22 days on the market, no price reductions yet.
Mm-hmm.
The next one, 985,000, 42 days on the market. It did go under contract for about 3 weeks and then came back on recently. No price reductions yet, so we'll see what happens with that one. And then the third one that's currently active is listed for 1,040,000. On the market for 85 days, they've had 110,000 in price reductions.
Whoa.
There's currently one under contract listed at 899, 82 days on the market, and they did a total of 50,000 price reductions. And, you know, when we look at that price reduction, that is price reduction before it went under contract. So once we see the sales data, it might end up being even more that they've taken off. And then 2 sold. There's one for 899,000, was on the market for 3 days. They got it for asking price. And then the other one,
Wait, what was the price on that one? That one?
899.
Okay, that's the price.
Yep. 3 days on market asking price. And also, was it a cute house? Was it move-in condition? You know, there's all the other factors, but price obviously is, you know, they were just under 9. And so that's probably the best priced.
Yeah.
And then the one under contract, list price at the time was $899, so maybe that's the key in that neighborhood. It's just get right under. The other one that sold for 900,000, was on the market for 161 days, went for 89,000 under asking.
Wow. Okay. Because that neighborhood has definitely been showing us kind of what's going on with the market. It was sneaking way past a million.
Sneaking up.
Yeah.
Yep,
And then it went like, but not crashing, my friends, not crashing.
No, it's just it's a softening. It is not a crash, it's a softening. So
yeah, there's room for negotiations, obviously. And if I had a seller in that neighborhood, I would say $899.
If you want to sell quick,
if you want to get out,
yeah.
So interesting. Well, thank you. Okay. And just because, you know, you've been watching the market and stuff, any trend lines that you can, I mean, how do you feel? Would you tell a seller not to sell right now, or do you tell a seller just to price correctly? I mean, what would you say?
I think it just depends on their motivation. Are they just curious? They want to test the market? Are they okay with no showings and sitting there and nothing happening? Or do they really need to sell? Like, I think there's so many variables.
Mhm.
Would I say absolutely don't sell? No, it just really depends on if they are saying to me, I don't need to sell, but I want to get the most bang for my buck, I would say sit on it right now. You know, let's see what happens if the interest rates do go down and people start to get active again, and you might get a little more. So yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Okay. Let's switch over to our buddy Lance Owens. There he is. He's the Hawaii president and has had a very long day, but he's the man in the know. So what's going on, Lance?
I just want to answer Delania's question. I did look really quick, and there was no withdrawals and no what was the other question? Withdrawals
or expireds, right? Nothing
neither
fell off the market. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
So people are not pulling their houses off the market. Okay. So they just lean till it sells.
So are you guys ready for the shocker of the day?
Yes.
So, all right. Condos, Kailua, Kona. What are they doing?
They're sitting like me. My
Are they up or down? Number of sales, up or down? What do you guys think?
Down.
Give me a thumbs up, thumbs down. What do you think? Is the number of sales up or down?
I'm going to say maybe up as people are finding deals.
Or you can say flat.
Okay, I'm going to say deals are being had.
All right. Travis says they're up. Delania, you said they're down. Andy said up. Eric says down. All right. Big winner of the day. The condo market is number of condos sold this year over last year. There's still 5 days left in the month. They're up 118%.
118%.
118%. Yep,
Wow.
118.18% if you want to get precise. So year to date, they're still down 3.2%, but of course, this is a big help what we're seeing this month. And remember, we got 5 days left. So I was surprised to see that number. So good job on those that got it correct, because I would have said probably down, not looking at
Yeah,
it.
but like Zelania said, it looks like when Alihilani got to the point where people thought that it was affordable, they all started they're buying them up,
Yeah.
right?
5 of those sales this month were Ali Ilani. I
Yeah.
mean, that
I
was
was gonna
amazing.
say that's the condo complex that's throwing off the data.
Yeah.
Because
So,
I don't know, people are buying investment condos.
so, well, it's the only thing that's affordable at this time. I remember back in 2006 and 7, where it was it was people that were in the housing market became not out of choice, but just out of necessity. It had to go to the condo market. So we are seeing the movement there, and of course, with Elite Ilani dropping their HOA fees has made a
Yeah.
huge difference. As far as homes go, they are dead flat, so it's exact same amount, but we still do have 5 days left of the month.
And
So
boy, everyone's gonna jump in there like a good car sale.
yeah, so I expect that to be over last year. So both homes and condos in Kona will be up. I'm going to make that prediction
Wow.
by the end of the month. So with that, the median price, what's happening with that? Median price right now in condos is, sorry, you guys, I didn't have this printed out. I'm away from my printer today, so I'm jumping around screens. North Kona, medium home price is down 6%. It was 1.38 million last year, and this year it is 1.295 million. So we're $85,000 drop in median home price. Condominiums went from a median price a year ago at 543.9, and it went up slightly 4.79% to 569,950. So let's jump over. I've got all these reports ready for you on the screen here. Next, we're going to look at the condo market as far as how many days in the market. What's the median days on the market? 42. So I think the Elite Ilani's probably throwing that off some because they are coming on and selling relatively quick. And the sales price to original list price is 95.6%. So
Okay, and that's for condos, right?
yeah, this is for condos.
Okay.
And the that's it on that, right? Got the median price. We've done all that. So I'm going to look at where do our homes lie on that? You know what? Gotta change this really quick.
You got a screen above your head?
Yeah, it's kind of I've been relinquished to my son's closet. If you only knew the true background here, because I've been in meetings all day long. So it is for residential properties. We are at a sale to original list price of 96%.
Oh,
And we are median days on the market 38%.
38 days, you mean?
Yeah, sorry, 38 days. Yes, thank you.
Okay. Well, it's not bad. I thought it'd be
No.
worse. I mean, okay. That's okay.
Yeah, it's moving a little bit. Now, you go by your seat of the pants feel, right? It feels a little sluggish. So those condo numbers did throw me for a surprise. So somebody's getting busy and lucky out there. It wasn't me this month. But so I always compare the seat of my pants by what's reality is, and it's always good to see. So reality is it's up 118%.
Wow. Okay. Well, I mean, that's good. That's good.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. And then you gave us your seat of the pants feeling. That's good. Because what does it feel like? Like, are people calling you? Just real quick, are people calling you for the fall? And do you feel like you're going to get some business this fall?
I'm not getting a lot of calls, though. I'm not getting a lot of calls right now.
Okay. So people on this call Lance. You can call me.
Yeah, Lance Owens, River Real Estate, you guys, 808-936-8383. Okay, my commercial's on.
Okay. Thank you, Lance. Let's go see what Eric has to say about East Hawaii.
Okay, so I am filling in for Nui here. So I'm going to give you guys some numbers. I've got some August numbers and I've got some September numbers. So I'll just start with those. I looked at a couple interesting things because we don't usually go over the land lots in Hilo or Puna. So let's hit those today. Kind of an interesting thought. Sales number in South Hilo, there were for residential, they were 16 in 2024 and 20 in 2025. So this month there is 20 in August, 20 homes were sold for an increase of 25% since last time. And then talking vacant land in South Hilo, and there were three lots that were sold this month, and a year ago this time there were four lots. So minus 25% for that one. And then the pricing for this for August is we got this is South Hilo residential, and that is 772,000. It was the average for this month, and last year was 587. So that was an increase of 31%, which is kind of definitely moving. And then vacant land in Hilo was 285,000, and the August before was 410, so minus 30% there with going on. And then let's move on to Puna. And Puna had 77 homes so last year during this time, and 75 sold this month in August. So that's a minus 2% is what it is. And vacant land in Puna, there were 87 lots sold this month, and last year was 82. So giving you kind of moving up with a 6% gain. And prices of those land, it was 36,000 was the average price, and last year it was 50,000, so minus 28%. So land's definitely going down over there. So that was our August numbers, and I also have Hilo numbers that were here for single family houses here in Hilo for September, and there were 30 houses that were sold this in September, although we're not quite to the end. The lowest was 629, the highest was 3.4, and the sales that took place was that 3.4 ended up selling for 2.725, giving us an average of 1,421 would be the average, and that was a pretty substantial sale there to kind of make the numbers. And then so let's see, sales to original price was 98% was the average of that one on top of that. And then I'm just going to see do they have days on market here? Days on market to sale, it went from 0 to 451. One property was on 451 days, and the average was 63. So give you a little bit of input of what's happening in Hilo.
Okay, that sounds like a kind of a flat market.
It does.
Okay, well, again, here we go. We're not the bastion of hot pancake market here, but we're not the other crashing either. So it sounds like Hawaiʻi Island is doing okay. So that's good. And Eric, have you gotten any phone calls? How's your?
We've been getting phone calls and emails. Yeah, people are. I think they're starting to look towards the coming up towards the new year, and they're starting to think ahead, and I think they're not, it seems like they're not quite so concerned that the world is going to fall apart. There was definitely a concern that what was going to happen in the world, and they've seemed to have kind of realized that the world, as Travis says, kind of keeps clunking along in a pattern, and that's just how it's going.
Okay, then that puts us back here. So we wanted to make sure that you guys felt like you were getting like the whirlwind of information and trend report here. And if you love this, please subscribe and leave your comments below so that we can also answer questions you guys might have on further of these all island updates. We missed the Waikoloa Village this time, but we'll do that next time. And in terms of wrapping this up, if you want mortgage information and you want to buy a mortgage or refinance, you got my buddy Travis. And then if you're looking for Kona and West Hawaii in general, you got Delaney and Lance and Eric. And then South Kona, South Hawaii, and maybe a little bit over in the Puna, maybe a little bit, you got Andy. So it's all here. We also, all of these people will actually sell your houses basically anywhere on this island. I know that I've seen Huamakua being used here, and we got Javi and everything else. So we've got a great group of people here for you guys. So hopefully you'll reach out, and we will be back in October. And so you guys, happy fall. And thank you guys for all participating in this and giving people some great information about what's happening in the market. So we'll see how it goes, but it looks like it's looking good so far. So give us a call. Okay, you guys.
Thank you guys. Appreciate
Aloha.
everything. Aloha.